It's a really high-profile international defamation lawsuit. We're talking about French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte Macron, taking a pretty definitive legal action against the American podcaster Candace Owens.
Yeah.
The fascinating, sometimes really turbulent currents of information that shape our world today. Just take a moment to think about the sheer speed of stuff online. How one post, maybe a video clip, or just a really provocative claim can start somewhere small.
Yeah.
And in seconds, it's literally everywhere, reaching millions before you even really register it. It's incredible connectivity.
It really is. But that speed, that digital spread, it's definitely a double-edged sword.
Right.
What starts as maybe a whisper in one corner can become this global roar, and often with very real, sometimes, deeply painful consequences for the people caught up in it.
Yeah, exactly.
It just fundamentally changes public discourse, puts enormous pressure on public figures.
And that massive reach, that ability to just, boom, be everywhere.
Yeah.
This isn't just, some minor political spat or a fleeting online thing. It feels like a major case study on truth, reputation, and digital accountability.
Absolutely. And our foundation for this this deep dive, it comes straight from a detailed CNN report published July 23, 2025. So very current.
Okay.
And this report gives us the specific claims, the legal actions, the whole context we need to sort of unpack today. It's a clear runway for our conversation.
Great. So our mission here for you listening is to really unpack this whole complex event together. From every angle the source gives us. We'll get into the specific allegations, try to understand the legal stuff going on, and importantly, explore the bigger picture. Like, why does a case like this even matter? What's it mean for public figures whose lives are, let's face it, intensely scrutinized and often hit with these viral, kind of out-of-nowhere stories?
Yeah, often totally unsubstantiated.
Exactly. So we'll look at the facts presented, consider the motivations, and think about what this deep dive means for all of us, living in this digital age. Okay, let's get into it. So to really grasp the weight and just the sheer boldness of what's happening, we have to start with the claim itself. The specific, honestly, extraordinary claim that kicked this whole thing off. At the absolute core of this lawsuit is Candace Owens' assertion that France's First Lady, Brigitte Macron, is, well, a man.
Yeah, it's an allegation that just by its nature grabs your attention, right?
Yep.
It immediately pushes boundaries.
Totally.
And what's striking is how this specific claim, which, had kind of circulated in some fringe online places before.
Right. I think I'd heard whispers.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't just repeated by Owens. It was, dramatically amplified. The complaint says she revived what they call an absurd conspiracy theory back in March.
Okay.
And she did it with a YouTube video. The title was pretty unambiguous. Is France's First Lady a man? So this wasn't some off-the-cuff remark. It was, deliberate content.
Right. Designed to push that specific, very sensational narrative. And the reach wasn't just YouTube, was it? The CNN report says Owens promoted this widely on X, formerly Twitter, where she has a huge following.
Yeah, considerable following.
And she didn't just mention it. She went further, right?
Yeah.
Making this dramatic declaration, calling it likely the biggest scandal in political history.
Wow. I mean, that's a truly sweeping statement.
Huge. It immediately tries to frame it as something unprecedented, regardless of whether there's any factual basis.
It absolutely is. And it brings up a really critical question for us, right? How does a claim like that, one the legal complaint itself calls absurd, even get traction, let alone explode globally?
Yeah, how does that happen?
Well, the power of these bold, unfounded statements, even if they're totally flimsy, it's undeniable. It often taps into, existing cognitive biases.
Okay.
Psychologists talk about the availability heuristic. Basically, the easier something comes to mind, especially if it's sensational, the more likely you are to think it's true or important. Ah, right. And framing it as a scandal, that plays right into our tendency to be drawn to things that seem hidden or secret or shocking, even without proof. The crazier the claim sometimes, the more attention it gets.
That makes a disturbing amount of sense. It feels like this wasn't just a one-off controversy either, but more like a sustained thing.
Yeah.
The lawsuit says it was part of a relentless year-long campaign of defamation against the Macron.
Yeah, that phrase relentless year-long, it really emphasizes the persistence, the deliberate nature of it all, suggests strategy, not just random posts.
Right.
And to give you some concrete examples from the source, Owens allegedly produced numerous videos about Brigitte Macron, and this is for her nearly 4.5 million YouTube subscribers.
Wow, that's a massive platform.
Huge reach. And among those, she apparently did a specific multi-part series called Becoming Brigitte.
A multi-part series.
Yeah, that level of focus, multiple videos structured like that, it suggests a really concerted effort to build and reinforce this narrative, almost like a documentary, but based on these claims.
It signals an intent to build a whole story, not just make comments.
Exactly, a continuous evolving story.
And it went beyond just making videos, this detail seems really crucial. The complaint also alleges Owens sold merchandise promoting the claim. That shifts it, doesn't it? From commentary, however controversial, into a commercial thing, built on spreading these specific allegations.
That is a profoundly critical distinction, yeah. And the complaint specifically points to Owens as maybe the first person to bring these baseless claims to the U.S. media and an international audience.
Okay, so amplifying it beyond France.
Exactly. It's not just local gossip. It's about the global push. And it raises this really important question. What does it mean for how information spreads globally and maybe gets monetized when a prominent figure takes these claims across borders, hits millions, and potentially, according to the complaint, profits from it?
Yeah.
It suggests a new, really challenging way misinformation can move, get stuck in people's minds, and even become, financially incentivized. Makes it way harder to counter.
Transforms it from a rumor into, like, a durable product.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, if this was this relentless year-long campaign, as the lawsuit claims, what were the Macrons doing all that time? Did they just let it happen?
No, our source makes it clear they definitely did not. They actively tried to deal with it to stop these claims long before they filed the lawsuit. Their lawyer, Tom Clare, said very directly they'd asked Owens to stop for about a year before they finally sued. He emphasized the lawsuit was really a last resort after she refused.
So it wasn't an immediate jump to legal action.
No, it shows a more measured, escalating response. And these requests to stop, according to CNN, weren't just polite notes. They came with incontrovertible evidence.
Evidence? What kind?
Evidence aimed right at disproving Owens' allegations. Things confirming, for instance, that Mrs. Macron was born a woman named Brigitte Macron, which directly hits the core claim. Also, that she's not a blood relative of President Macron, and that the Macrons are not being controlled or blackmailed by unknown forces by a CIA-linked program. Just comprehensive, direct, fact-based disproof.
Okay, so they laid out the facts.
Yeah.
But despite this incontrovertible evidence, these direct refutations, the claims kept going. And got amplified. That, for anyone trying to understand conspiracy theories, it raises a huge question. What does it say about their power when direct, verifiable proof is provided, and yet the claims just stick around and spread?
It really highlights a deep, pervasive challenge in our digital world. Providing evidence, which rationally should shut down a false claim, often doesn't work against a deeply embedded conspiracy theory.
Why not?
Well, it's not always about a lack of information. Sometimes it's about a totally different way of processing it. For people inclined to believe, conspiracy theories often feed on the idea that information is being suppressed or that the official evidence itself is part of the cover-up.
So the evidence becomes part of the conspiracy.
Exactly. It can even trigger what's called the backfire effect, where showing contradictory evidence actually makes someone believe the original falsehood even more strongly.
Wow, that's counterintuitive.
It is. The narrative becomes more compelling than the facts, especially if it fits with existing distrust of, say, institutions or authority. So this past year of them trying to get Owens to stop and her alleged refusal, it just shows the escalation. Pushed it from a PR headache into, this unavoidable legal fight.
And that fight is now official. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of the legal battle, because it's clearly not simple. The lawsuit filed by Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron against Candace Owens, Wednesday, July 23, 2025. Important to note the date and the parties.
And critically, filed not in France, but in Delaware Superior Court in the U.S.
Okay, why Delaware?
That choice of location is really significant. It's just a strategic decision to go where Owens operates, where she broadcasts her stuff, holding her accountable under U.S. law, where her main audience probably is.
Makes sense. And the scope. It's not just one count, right?
No, not at all. It alleges 22 counts against Owens and her business entities. 22? That shows a really comprehensive legal approach.
22 counts. That's substantial. And it includes defamation, which people kind of get, but also false light and defamation by implication. Can you break those down a bit? They sound nuanced.
Yeah, they are. So false light is about publicity that puts someone in a, well, highly offensive false light. It's like defamation harms reputation, but doesn't always need a direct, provable lie. It's more about the misleading impression it creates.
So, like an example.
Okay, imagine taking a photo of someone at a totally innocent event, but then publishing it next to an article about, say, crime, implying they were involved. The photo's real, but the implication, the light it puts them in, is false and damaging.
Got it. So the overall picture painted is false, even if individual bits aren't technically lies.
Exactly, and defamation by implication is similar. That's when statements, maybe true or carefully worded on their own, are put together in a way that creates a false and defamatory meaning in the mind of, a reasonable listener. It's about what's implied or inferred, not just explicitly stated.
Okay.
So by including these, the Macrons' lawyers are clearly going broad, trying to cover all the ways these claims might have hurt them, even if Owens was careful with her exact wording. It's trying to close off loopholes for how misinformation can work.
Now, damages. In big lawsuits, that's always a key question. What are the Macrons actually asking for from Candace Owens?
They're seeking punitive damages, which are different from just covering losses. Punitive damages are meant to punish the defendant for really bad conduct and, importantly, deter others from doing the same thing.
Okay, so punishment and deterrence.
Right. And they also allege they've suffered substantial economic damages, specifically including loss of future business opportunities, which is, well, an interesting angle for a first lady.
Yeah, loss of future business opportunities for the First Lady of France. That sounds unusual. How would that even work? And did their lawyer, Tom Clare, put a number on it?
Clare actually declined to say the amount of money they'd seek right now, but he did give a pretty clear warning. He said if Owens continues to double down on the claim, basically, keeps pushing it even now, then it'll be a substantial award.
A warning shot.
Definitely. It suggests they're ready for a long fight and think the potential penalties could be really significant. As for those economic damages for a first lady, well, she doesn't have a typical job, obviously.
Right.
But her role has immense soft power influence. That can translate into real opportunities like leading major charities, attracting investments for cultural projects, endorsing big public campaigns. If her reputation is seriously damaged, it could definitely hinder that work, those causes. So there's a real, if maybe indirect, economic impact.
Okay, I see.
And the lawyer's warning really signals this escalating dynamic. Keep it up, the price goes up, it makes it a very high-stakes game, and a substantial award here could absolutely set a global precedent for future cases like this. Might make people think twice about amplifying baseless claims across borders.
Beyond the legal stuff and the money, though, the complaint itself really emphasizes the human cost.
Yeah.
It talks about the tremendous damage suffered, making it very personal.
Yeah, it does. The language is quite vivid. It says, and this is a direct quote, "Every time the Macrons leave their home, they do so knowing that countless people have heard, and many believe, these vile fabrications. It is invasive, dehumanizing, and deeply unjust."
Wow. That really paints a picture of how pervasive and awful it must feel. Just going outside becomes this ordeal.
And their lawyer, Tom Clare, he really drove this home too. He said, what people forget is these are human beings. These are a married couple. They have a social life. They have a private life together. They have the same feelings and the same hurt as anybody would. And it does have a material impact on them.
He's basically saying, look, forget the titles. They're people.
Exactly. And that really hits the so what factor for you, the listener. It's easy sometimes to just dismiss online stuff as noise, especially about famous people far away.
Sure.
But this perspective reminds us that even for a head of state, these digital claims cause real personal distress, real emotional pain, real-world consequences. It's not just about image or politics. It's about basic human dignity being attacked constantly.
Makes you think about the impact of what gets shared online.
Definitely.
Now, you'd expect Candace Owens to react once this lawsuit dropped. And,
Yeah.
well, she did pretty strongly, right? What was her immediate response?
Oh, yeah. Very public, very defiant. She went on Instagram, posted a screenshot about the lawsuit, put up a picture of the Macrons, and the caption was remarkably provocative. She wrote, "I will be coming for this wig today. Stay tuned."
Wow. So not exactly backing down, more like doubling down aggressively.
Exactly. It wasn't just defiance against the lawsuit. It was like a recommitment to the core claim, almost taunting them, even with legal action pending.
And that wasn't all, was it? She said more later.
No, she followed up with a YouTube video. And in that, she framed the lawsuit not as, a legitimate response to defamation, but as an obvious and desperate public relations strategy.
So flipping the script, saying they're the ones being manipulative.
Precisely. Reframing it as this cynical move by the Macrons to control the narrative rather than a genuine response to harm or seeking justice, it dismisses the whole thing by suggesting ulterior motives.
It's fascinating, isn't it? The stark contrast. You've got one side saying this is dehumanizing, causing tremendous damage, and the other saying, nah, it's just a PR stunt.
Completely irreconcilable narratives.
It's like two totally different realities being presented. Sets up a battle not just in court, but for public opinion, too.
Absolutely. That contrast just perfectly highlights the public perception battleground that always comes with these high-profile cases, especially now. One side focuses on personal harm, appeals to empathy. The other immediately tries to discredit the action itself, calling it manipulation. It forces the public to weigh not just the claims, but the motivations behind the lawsuit, too. Makes the lawsuit itself part of the ongoing drama.
And it's important to remember this isn't actually the first time Brigitte Macron has dealt with something like this, legally speaking. Our source mentions she separately sued 2 French women for spreading similar claims in 2022.
Yeah, that's a really crucial piece of context. It shows the specific narrative about her identity isn't new. It's been a persistent issue, serious enough for legal action in France before.
So that's a pattern.
Definitely. A pattern, maybe a more organized spread of this particular story. And the outcome of that earlier French case is interesting, too. She initially won the initial case.
Okay, so a French court originally sided with her.
Seems so, implying they found the claims defamatory under French law at that stage.
But the story didn't end there for that case, did it? It got more complicated.
No, it didn't. The CNN report, citing their affiliate BFM TV, says that later, this year actually, the women she sued won an appeal and the lawsuit will go to a higher court.
So it's still ongoing, even the French case.
Yeah, adds another layer of complexity. And connecting this to the bigger picture, it just shows what an ongoing, persistent challenge this has been for Brigitte Macron. Not just one person, one incident. It's a long, multi-front battle against this specific falsehood that seems really resistant to denials and even initial court rulings.
And it highlights the global nature, too, right? Claim spreading, legal battles in different countries.
Exactly. Different jurisdictions, continuous effort needed just to defend your reputation in this borderless information world.
Now, widening the lens even more, it's really relevant to bring in what Emmanuel Macron himself said about disinformation. This was back in March 2024, so before this specific U.S. lawsuit. What did he say then?
He spoke pretty candidly, actually, at an event in Paris, talked about the profound difficulty of dealing with the false information and fabricated stories as president. He really articulated the burden of leadership when lies spread so easily.
So he was already aware of this as a major problem.
It shows this isn't just a reaction to Owens, but a recognized issue for leaders generally.
And he made it personal, too, didn't he? Not just abstract disinformation.
No, he made it explicitly personal. He said, people end up believing them, and it disrupts your life, even in your most private moments.
Wow.
That's a really powerful link between the big societal issue and the very intimate impact on his own family. It just reinforces that human being aspect their lawyer talked about. Shows how public roles don't shield you from private pain caused by this stuff.
That insight from Macron himself, it raises a big question. What are the unique challenges world leaders and their families face trying to defend their private lives against these kinds of pervasive rumors? They're already under a microscope, but this seems different.
The challenge is immense, just huge. And it's got multiple layers. Unlike us, maybe, they have very little escape from the public eye, very little control over the narratives, especially when they're amplified by figures with huge followings. They're public figures, yes, but they're also individuals, private lives, relationships, feelings, and their role as national symbols makes them targets. Plus, the speed and global reach mean a rumor becomes truth for millions, instantly.
So what can they even do?
Their options are tough. Ignore it. The falsehood can just grow, seem true because it wasn't denied. Fight it legally, like now. That can ironically give the claims even more attention. It often feels like a no-win situation.
Yeah, a real bind. Despite how personal this lawsuit feels, the invasion of privacy, the distress, the Élysée Palace, the president's office, has taken a specific official line. What's their stance?
They officially stated the lawsuit was a private affair and they wouldn't comment publicly. That's a very deliberate choice.
And what does that signal? Why frame it that way?
It strongly signals the intensely personal nature of it, even involving the head of state. By calling it private, they're saying this isn't state policy, not diplomacy. It's a personal affront to Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron as individuals.
So keeping the state out of it, in a way.
Right. It's probably strategic. Avoid giving the claims more official weight by engaging at the state level. Instead, it emphasizes the personal harm, keeps the focus on individual rights, reputation, not broader politics, tries to stop it being used as a political weapon.
This whole case, from the, frankly, bizarre claims to this international legal fight, it's clearly more than just a story about Macron and Owens. It really shines a light on these broader societal challenges that affect all of us, right?
Absolutely.
For you listening, this deep dive isn't just French politics or U.S. media figures. It's a potent real-world case study. How information, true or false, impacts real lives, reputations, even institutions in this digital age we're all navigating.
It really is, and it's a stark reminder of our shared responsibility here. It raises that crucial question for all of us.
Yeah.
How do we actually tell the difference between solid reporting and, baseless claims or fabricated stories, as the complaint and Macron put it?
Yeah, how do we do that? Especially when we're just flooded with information and algorithms might push the sensational stuff.
Exactly. Developing that critical filter, that internal fact checker, it's just more vital than ever.
And it's not just about what we consume passively, is it? It's also about what we share. What responsibility do we have for verifying things before we hit share or decide to believe something?
That's such a critical point for being a good digital citizen. Every share, it can amplify a message, give it reach, make it seem more legit, whether it's true or not. We have a responsibility to pause, think about the source, look for other evidence, consider the impact. In this case, it also forces us to grapple with these huge principles like freedom of speech versus the right to privacy, protection from defamation, especially when speech crosses borders like this. Where are the lines in a borderless digital world?
Right. What happens when a claim made in the U.S. deeply affects someone, a head of state no less, in Europe?
And the legal standards are so different. In the U.S., public figures have a really high bar to prove defamation actual malice. Many European countries have stronger privacy laws, lower bars for defamation.
So filing in the U.S. is a specific challenge.
Huge challenge. It highlights these massive jurisdictional complexities, even if they win. Enforcing a judgment across borders, that's another whole hurdle. Raises big questions about global digital accountability.
It really makes you think about this evolving landscape of digital accountability. This case, French citizens suing an American in a U.S. court, it could set a really powerful precedent for how public figures try to get legal recourse across borders for online speech. Like, the Wild West isn't quite so wild anymore. National borders don't stop information, but maybe they won't stop the legal consequences either.
And that precedent could reshape how we think about the responsibilities of platforms, creators, everyone online, globally. It underscores that the internet, for all its openness, isn't totally lawless. Claims on one continent can have real legal and deeply personal impacts on another. This deep dive really shows the digital and real worlds are tangled together. What happens online causes real offline harm.
So just to briefly recap where we've been in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We looked at those audacious claims by Candace Owens. The assertion Brigitte Macron is a man, claims the Macron's team calls an absurd conspiracy theory they fought for a year. We traced their efforts to stop it, culminating in this big 22-count defamation lawsuit in the U.S. And we touched on that profound personal toll described in the complaint, the feeling of being invaded, dehumanized, the deep injustice.
It's just a really stark, impactful reminder. Even global leaders, people who seem untouchable, they're human. They feel the hurt, the impact, the privacy erosion from defamatory stuff, just like anyone else, but maybe amplified massively. Their experience just highlights the real consequences of online lies.
So what does this all mean for the future, for how we navigate information? As stuff spreads globally, instantly crossing borders, often missing traditional checks, where is that line between robust public discussion and just deeply damaging private defamation?
Yeah, where is it?
And in a world where you can present incontrovertible evidence, proof, and yet the claims just persist and even get monetized, how do we, as informed citizens, get better at telling truth from fabrication? And how do we support a media environment that actually values accuracy and dignity and facts over just clicks and controversy?
Big questions.
Definitely something to mull over, maybe explore more on your own long after we finish here.
show. Let's go, open up your mind and grow. Facts and stories, things you never know. Every episode, we light the glow. Step into the world of Mass Show. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mass Show. Lights up bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow. New ideas begin to shine. Breaking limits, crossing lines. Every moment feels divine. In the world of Mass Show time. Turn it up, let the rhythm flow. Feel the beat, take control. Don't be shy, just let it go. This is where the magic grows. Tune in now, it's the Mass Show. Lights are bright and minds will glow. Every day we learn and grow. Come along and join the flow.